check. Yeah, it is time lapse.
Yeah, I messed up a couple of times, like thinking it was on video, and then it's like short bursts.
Yeah.
Why isn't the audio mixed in with the video? I'm like a badly dubbed Hong Kong action film.
Right. You're like, All right, cool. We're going to do the intro again.
Okay.
Since we got a warm up on that. You have a podcast, right?
I do.
You want to try... You try
want...
your intro first, and that might warm me up.
All right. What's up, Dirty Cones? I'm here today at the historic Russell in East Nashville. It's a beautiful hotel, Airbnb type of place, for lack of a better word. And it's a renovated church. It's got stained glass windows. It's got a recording studio that we're using today. So we're moving up from the, this is my normal recording devices. I'm like, uh-oh, that one stopped working.
That one's good. It wasn't even recording us. So
well, we're good.
That was a different one.
So this is my What's Up, Dirty Cones. And so we've moved into the 21st century now with this. And I'm here with my friend Craig.
What up?
Craig is an amazing, beautiful individual that I met at a funeral of a friend of ours that we had. And I think this would be a great time. We could talk about Mike and, you know, fill in the world on what a good person MikeFlores was and talk about you and all the wonderful things that you do.
Yeah.
And, you know, just facilitate.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. Random, crazy way people connect, huh?
And we, dude, so Craig grew up with MikeFlores, who was a PJ who died in Afghanistan. And I show up at we show up to the funeral. It's a beautiful funeral.
Right.
People from everywhere. And a buddy of ours, Shane, got up and talked, and you talked at the funeral as well. And I was like it really... I think I was still a little bit younger at that time, and I hadn't been to too many funerals.
Yeah.
So, you know, because, God, that's like 9 years ago now.
Yeah. Well, like, so some back story on the funeral and our friend. So how did you know Mike?
I worked with Mike.
Okay.
Deployed with him, was stationed with him in Vegas, went on a couple TYs with him. He was a surfer. He's also a brown man. So, you know, as brown men, we got along.
Right. y'all were different. Y'all were not the normal.
The normal polar bears.
Right. So, like, and describe, like, and I don't even think I've heard this, you know, but describe some deployments or describe Mike. What was he known for? You know, what was it like working with him?
He was known for being funny and sarcastic, but he also was like really smart and a hard worker and like knew his shit. So you didn't want to mess with him or get on his bad side. But he liked surfing, liked his wife, liked his kids, loved life, just a nice, friendly dude, you know, like bagels.
Like bagels. Long walks on the beach, like
Tupperware.
Nice. So yeah, like it was interesting because that funeral kind of it was tough for me, you know, and I can't even imagine for y'all having to walk through stuff like that more often than what the average person should. That was my first experience of growing up. I had some issues losing some very close people, and I think a year before that, actually 2 years before that, we had lost one of our buddies from high school on Thanksgiving. You know, the night of Thanksgiving, all of us coming in, BJ, and all went out. You know, everybody goes out. The biggest bar night in America.
It's the day before Thanksgiving.
Everybody comes in from the holidays,
yep.
And you come in from college and you party it up and drink your face off, and then the next day you wake up and eat your face off.
Right.
And that was my first experience. Bad incident that night. Saw stuff you don't want to see, and it's emotional. The Mike thing was hard. I've known Mike since, first grade.
All right.
Right? So that was a real hard time. And it was weird because I didn't know how y'all were going to kind of look at us or be because y'all knew him on a different level.
Right.
And it can go back and forth, different intimate levels.
Right.
So I was really blown away by the way you came forward and you're just like, dude, like I'm here, like, y'all knew Mike, I knew Mike. Let's connect.
Yes.
And because it's kind of like in my head, I saw it, and maybe I was already looking at it, but it's like there's his military buds right there. There's his high school buds. And it's like that awkwardness of like the guy and girls in a seventh grade dance.
Yeah. Everybody's on the
Everybody's
sides.
just kind of like that, and it's just like, okay, we'll talk and do a little niceness, but whatever. You didn't know him this way, you didn't know him that way. But it's cool. I really appreciate the way you kind of brought that over.
Well, I appreciate you guys inviting, because you invited everybody,
Mhm.
and I was the only one that showed up. Because
Right.
I was like, hey, let's go, we'll mourn together, we'll share, and, we can fill in the blanks for what he's been doing for the last 10 years after he left high school, and you'd be able to fill in the blanks, well, this is where it came from.
Right.
And then we made friends, and you welcomed me and the kids and played Wii with my sons,
Yeah.
and Anna and Shane and Vince and everybody just, you guys were so welcoming, and it really made me feel at home.
Yeah.
And then I just fell in love with all you guys, and we started going out drinking and having a good time. And whenever you come back to town, hanging out with you and getting to meet your dad and go watch a Spurs game.
Yes. Yeah.
All those memories of just, good time. And they came from a sad moment. I mean, that funeral was hard.
Yeah.
Just there were so many people, and there was just, the poor Floreses. I mean, the day he died, I went over to, their, because I'd met him maybe like twice before.
So you were one of the ones that had to deliver, or?
No.
Okay.
I knew that he died that day,
Yeah.
and I knew where their dental practice was, in Grissom.
Yeah.
So I just went over there, and I'm like, we've met once before, but I wanted to, come and say I was sorry.
Oh.
And Mr. Flores, just a good human being with a big old heart, just like Mike.
Right.
And so I could feel his pain. And Anna was sitting, at the front desk, and I was just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Because you never know, what do you say to a family? And I've been to a lot of funerals and heard the mothers of my friends wailing.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, I can feel it right now almost. I'm just like, oh, because that heartbreaking pain.
Yeah.
You can hear it, and you could hear. They have the house out in Port Aransas,
Mm-hmm.
and Mrs. Flores, invited us out, and we were there for the weekend, and we're eating dinner, and she's like, "Why is my son dead?"
Whew.
And I was drinking because I'm just like,
hold on.
yeah, I'm like,
the answer's under here. Let me get to it. Let me drink.
and I'm like, I can't give you a good answer. I don't want to give you well, it's for the betterment of America or something. All I can tell you is that he died so that we can have freedom. And if that's the wrong answer, I mean, this is all I have. This is what I'm going on myself, of the 16 friends that I have buried.
Right.
I'm like, they died for a good reason. We're still alive. I go surfing for them. I have friendly conversations with people, and I remember them and talk about them, and they're not really gone because you're still talking about them. And that's how, in my head, I cope with death.
Yeah.
Either through humorous jokes that are probably inappropriate, but they work, and they help me get through, and or just sharing stories and listening, and then you pass it on and you share, and 100 years from now, hopefully someone can go, oh, MikeFlores, yeah, he was a badass PJ. I heard about that guy. Oh, look, here's a story about him. Here's two friends talking about him. Wow.
Nice. Yeah. Very cool. I think we'll pause for a second. Still rolling, but pause. No, all of that's good shit. Really good shit.
And it sounds good.
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, because we'll do the same. We'll just do it again too, and we'll do it from my situation of you bringing you on as a guest.
Yeah.
That way, because I'm going to have you go into elaborate of explanation. Your audience already knows you and what you do and how you do it, and then when I'll pull it in.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep running with it as yours on this one,
Okay.
go for it.
Yeah. So we're in Nashville for Socom Athlete. Always a good time with Mr. Sweet. I came to spend the night with you, so I get to see you. It's like a double banger, you know.
Nice,
You know,
yeah.
and then just getting to see you, and just because it's been a while
So,
since.
so what is this SOCOM athlete like? Because
Oh, okay. So he's much like me. Runs a training adventure, if you want to call it,
yeah,
and he does Hell Days. And he's got little groups. I don't want to call them little because they got 17 to 30 people. But he's got these groups here, Philadelphia, um, 2 in San Diego, 1 in LA, 1 in San Francisco, San Antonio, Phoenix, Tucson, Miami. He's just got them all over. And so what he does is huge. Goes around once a quarter to the places and does what he calls a Hell Day. And all it is a kick in the nuts, punish you, thrash you, kind of show you what you can be expecting.
I pay for this.
People pay for this, but it's not too bad. I think for the weekend it's $289.
Okay.
And on Friday he does nutrition. Excuse me. He does pool work, techniques, stretching. Wow. Excuse me.
So currently, are there currently people right now in Nashville undergoing hell?
They're about to. We start at 2:00 this afternoon, and we'll go till 9 or 10 tonight.
Nice. So what do you think? What's the process going through their head right now? Do they even have a clue? They think they have a clue, but do
Right.
they have a clue?
So some of these guys have been here before
Okay.
and done it before,
Uh-huh.
but the guys that are new,
Yeah.
they don't. But the beauty of it is it's actually preparing you for ANS, which is assessment selection, which used to be INDOC.
Okay.
So it's making them ready for these courses because the new ANS format is 15 days straight. You 21 hours a day. You might get a little bit of sleep. You're in a tent. You're eating MREs. No phone. No outside contact. Just a 15-day gut check. And because imagine going through San Antonio in the middle of summer,
Yeah.
and you're in a tent, sweating your ass off, so you're not really getting any rest. And in the winter it might be a little bit better because at least it's a little bit cooler. And the spring and the fall guys got it pretty good, but summer and winter, you're done.
So you should strategically plan when you actually enter.
I believe so.
I like
Well,
it. I like
same
it.
thing for buds.
Yeah.
If you're coming through any of these courses in San Antonio,
Yeah.
spring or fall, right?
No August.
No August.
Okay.
Oh, no. You're going to buds.
Yeah.
You want to go summer.
Right.
Summer, late spring, early fall. So you get.
I mean, the water's already freezing.
Water's
as
freezing.
It is.
So at least it's only 62 versus in the winter it can get down to 58.
Oof, yeah.
So 58 in, out, freezing. You're all covered in sand.
You want to get out of the water and feel warm, not get out of the water and get
And
cold.
feel colder,
Yeah.
and then you get into the water to get warm again.
Yeah. Oh.
So, but there have been lots of times where the water is warmer than the air. I mean, in Texas happens all the time.
Yeah.
So you just end up, sitting with just your head above the water because you're like, oh.
And that's a weird. I've been in that situation just from triathlons where you're freezing your butt off and you get in the water and it's a weird thing because you think it's warm. It's not warm. It's still freezing. It's just not as cold.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, this is great, but your body's just completely losing temperature. Or,
Perspective.
Perspective. Right. Yeah, definitely.
I think someone's getting a tour.
I think they are getting a tour.
So the Russell, as we talked about, is this beautiful hotel, and it's got rooms, and it's no management or anybody. It's more like an Airbnb, so it's take care of yourself, push your little code in, and ta-da. And Craig was able to get us this studio.
Podcast studio.
Podcast studio, and we walked in, and I'm like, whoa, people are gonna not think this is me.
Right.
That's why we have video. Well, that's the other thing. I never video.
It's your proof.
I never video myself. And we were talking about that because you were like, well, why don't you video yourself? And I'm like, well, because I don't want to be, I like my niche group. If only one person listens to the podcast and they get something out of it, then that's like you and me maybe walking down the street and we talk to some homeless guy. Any hope that I can give to somebody, to me, is, what's important.
Right.
So, I don't like I don't like being on camera. Like all the times they took pictures of me, I'm like, ugh. You know, but
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's so weird because what do I do for a living? I have a camera. I put people on camera.
Right.
And so often they're like, oh, we need an extra person. Or, hey, you do that really good. Yeah, it's called directing and it's behind the camera.
Behind
You
the
put me in front of the camera, deer in headlights. Awful.
See, and I like talking, but don't look at me.
Right.
Don't look at me.
No, I completely feel you on that.
Well, I think, you know, like I was saying earlier, I like the anonymity.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows who I am. They're like, oh, yeah, I've seen your picture, but I don't want anyone to recognize me. You know, like I tell people that I'm moderately famous in the Air Force, you know, and they're like, oh, yeah. But I mean, shoot, Katrina was 15 years ago coming up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I retired 2 years ago. And so, you know, I'm fading into, which is fine. I want to fade into obscurity and just do stuff like this and just help people, you know, quietly.
Yeah.
Versus kind of like, what's his name? George Michael.
Okay.
All right. So after he died, all these people came out and were like, yeah, he gave me this money. I needed a surgery.
Right.
You know, but he don't talk about it
Right.
while I'm around. You know, I don't tell anybody.
Right. He's not doing it, announcing it, or publicizing it like so many people do these days.
Right.
I just donated X amount of dollars in my name.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they say, like Keanu Reeves is like that too.
Yes.
Very similar to that, where he's such a philanthropist of just giving, but you don't hear about it.
Yeah.
Unless the reciprocant like comes out about it.
And I think, like, at our level, you know, we're not Keanu Reeves or George Michael, so we don't have that kind of money. But what we can do and what we do give, it's the grassroots.
Right.
You know, it's that, because, you know, people complain, oh, the government's all that. The government ain't doing shit for you or to you because it's so far up here removed. Right. Versus if we take about our level, you know, where it's at, how much can you really do?
Right.
Versus, oh, you know, I don't have to give you $1,000 to help you out. Maybe I'm only gonna give you $100, you know, because you don't need all this kind of stuff. So it's just low level, grassroots. Keep it simple, keep it easy, affect who you can, where you can. You know, I don't know how many times I end up talking to homeless people on the streets, you know, and I'm like, you look youngish, you know, you think you could, you know, and then
you look able.